I rely so much on my band and they're my team. I was always worried. I never wanted a musician that I felt would be like laughing at me. I know that they don't do that, but you've got to feel really at ease and you've got to feel like they're on your side because you're giving so much of yourself to an audience.
Sara has won an ARIA award and over 20 golden guitars.
I just want to say a big hello and thank you so much, every one of you, for coming and celebrating 15 years, I can't believe it, since 15 years this year since the release of Beautiful Circle. And thank you.
Since the release of her second album, Beautiful Circle, Sara has become known as one of Australia's most authentic country voices, along with her friend and musical influence John Williamson. These days, Clare plays in both Sara and John's bands.
Like the next day.
What was the song?
It was Mascara and Song.
And the thing about Clare is I always just respected her as the fiddle player with the Bushwhackers, and I didn't really know that much more about her. I'd had a beer with her on occasion, but it wasn't until I actually hired her as a fiddle player that I realised how versatile she is, and I realised she's been classically trained. She's a creative of music too, not just a player, and that's pretty rare, especially people that are brought up in the classical sense usually can only read, but she's one of a talent that can read as well as play along or actually create a melody. So I think she's very, and I'm very lucky to have her on road.
When I first started learning, my first piano teacher was a nun, yes. And the old classic used to wrap our fingers over the knuckles if we got the scales wrong, and all that used to happen. But when I was a kid, you hear those, people think they're myths, but no, they actually did. That's about all I can remember.
It's a hot Wednesday afternoon in Tamworth, and Clare, seemingly a million miles from her classical piano lessons, takes the stage with local honky-tonk legend Juanita. For many, such as Juanita's fans, shows like these represent the real Tamworth Country Music Festival.
I've got a beverage here somewhere. Has everyone got a beverage? Now, speaking of, purchases or whatever, there are lips at the bar. So everyone gets a chance to suck some lips that resemble Juanita's. No, I'm serious. There's a couple of different colours. There's green, so that's probably how they're going to look in a couple of days' time. But there's purple, when I'm bloody dead, or blue or whatever. Yellow, when I'm just going off my head and I'm a bit manic in the morning in my vintage white nightie.
Whilst Juanita is rightfully known as the queen of honky-tonk around these parts, hers is largely a cult following. Just down the road, at the Tourist Information Centre, souvenirs from Australia's more mainstream successes adorn the walls, most of whom have won an illustrious golden guitar at some point in the last 40 years.
Because originally I was actually against the idea because I thought all it's going to do was make us all backstabbing one another because, I should have won that prize, or, And it does cause a little bit of that, but generally I think it brings us together. We get over the awards eventually, who should have got it and who shouldn't, all that stuff. And now, of course, it's so much harder to get a golden guitar because there are so many more artists. So I guess what it has done is encourage a lot more young ones. And the busking and all that is really part of it. I was lucky that I already had a #1 hit before it happened, because Old Man Emu was released before, only a couple of years before the award started. So I was already in there, but if it hadn't been for that, I would have been coming here busking originally too. Almost did, really. I was just put money on the door when I did the Long Yard and the Town Talk, or whatever it was called, the pub.
Clare's been in John's band for 2 years now.
Every song has a placement and a meaning, and it's a story that he's telling. It all makes sense, it all flows, the whole thing, and he gives a lot of thought to it.
I think the fiddle in particular has a human element to it anyway. It has a voice, and it can be folk, it can be country, it can be anything, it can be classical. It's everything, you know. So and my music isn't really strictly one thing or the other. I would say it's country folk mainly, but it's just songs about Australia and, you know, my love of the bush, and it doesn't really bother me what style it is, but it obviously comes out as being basically country because that's what it's about, you know. And Claire's fiddle, she understands that. Apparently, talking to her, she came onto country music quite by accident, and now she loves it. And I think she probably loves the elements about it that I do. You know, it's real stuff. You know, it's not gimmicky. It's real.
I don't have to look at. It's the only show the whole festival I don't have to look at any charts.
Really?
No.
The only one?